Om. Om. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Sri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha. Om Sri Matre Namaha. Priyatma Bandhulara. So last week we were discussing about how to earn money in a legitimate way by following dharmic principles. So far we have covered about 2 sessions on that. Now today is the 3rd session. Now there are 4 purusharthas to be achieved in human life. As already told, they are dharmam, ardham, kamam and moksham. Following dharmam, aiming at moksham, the humans should earn ardham and kamam. These are the cardinal principles taught in Mahabharatam and Bhagavad Gita. How these are achieved is given in these discourses. Now, somebody is asking question, out of all things which were taught in university, which one do you use to make a living? Answer is, whatever one may study, in the ultimate analysis, everything is tied with managing one's finances. It is not enough if you simply earn money. You should also know how to deal with and also deploy with your money. I have built myself from scratch and everything is self-made and self-earned. I came to Hyderabad to join my first job and later brought my wife and my first son, who was born on the day I was giving my interview for DMR's job as senior scientific assistant. When I was sitting in the director's office, somebody said, "You have got a phone call." I said, "There is nobody who can call me." Then they said, "Sir, your name is Shivakeshavam." Yeah. Care of Director DMRL, they gave the address. You have a telegram to come and deliver that, it will take time. So I want to convey that message. So I went and picked up. They told me, you are blessed with a son. He was my first child. So what all I had before joining DMRL or DRDO was my wife, my first son, and our clothes. I had neither taken dowry at the time of my marriage, nor any property share from my father. However, using simple interest formula and compound interest formula to the full extent, I have built a reputation for quality and value for money and made a decent life for me, my family, and my children. I want you also to get fully benefited from my personal experience because I built myself from scratch, as I already told you, and that is the reason I have given my details for your benefit. So before starting, I will give you an anecdote before actuals. I was made the president of the DMRL Employees Cooperative Credit and Thrift Society in the early 1980s. I was chosen by the employees' union representatives personally for this job. When I asked them why only me for this job, they told the society had rupees 5 lakhs to its credit. I said, then a lot of people will be willing to take such healthy society. They said, yes, sir, lots of people are willing to take over. Then I said, give it to the people who are interested. Why are you asking me to take over as I'm not interested? They all replied, sir, they will eat away the money if they were given. I asked them, what about me? They all replied, "Sir, you will not eat." If that was your confidence, then I agreed for taking over. I took over, but when I took over, there was rupees 5 lakhs around 1983 or 84, I don't remember, with simple interest and compound interest jugglery. I will tell you the details, but immediately after taking over, I found to appease people or the employees, industrial workers and others. They borrowed money. We were tied up with the district cooperative bank, Apex Bank. It is in Nampalli, Hyderabad. They brought money, about 10 lakhs, at 18% interest. And they are giving to the employees at 10% interest. Immediately it was a shock for me. When you are borrowing at 18% and giving the money to employees at 10%, straight away you are losing 8%. What will happen? This society will be dissolved in no time. Then when I asked my predecessors, they told, "Sir, they are pressing us hard. We had no alternative. And this is the only source from where we can get money." So when they asked, they said they are charging 18%. So we brought money and gave disburse. Finish. So then I went and met the bank manager at Nampalli headquarters. "Sir, this is the position. I am new to this. I have taken over recently as its president. Now I am in a fix now. Sir, kindly show some consideration for us. We are all employees." He said, "Sir, I am doing business. I don't show consideration at business. So these are our rules. We are charging 18%. We will charge you also 18%. But then I said, my bank will be dissolved in no time, my society. We will exhaust all funds because every month we are losing 8%. What is the way out?" Then he said, "The only way out is you pay me the money, I will close the account." That's all was the solution he gave me. I came back from the bank. I went to the society, registrar of societies. I discussed with them. Then they said, "Sir, these are the existing bylaws. I have to work within these bylaws. If I work within these bylaws, my society will be dissolved in no time. But I want to do something new." Then they said, "Sir, you can't do anything new. If you want to do anything new, you have to amend the bylaws first." For that, they told me the procedure. I have to call for a general body meeting. And in the general body meeting, I must convince all my employees. And then I must take their approval, submit it to the registrar. Registrar will give me permission to submit new bylaws. Now, at least I need some time to make new bylaws. So again, after making the new bylaws, I must again convene the general body meeting and then take approval from all the members and then submit the proceedings to the registrar for his approval. Then he will take about a month's time, and then he said he will give approval. Then I can do whatever I want. So immediately I came, I convened for a meeting. I explained to them because, see, had it been for others, it might not have been possible because employees only came to me and requested me to take over. They immediately listened to me. So immediately I said, "Please don't approach me, anybody, for the next 3 months. There will be no transactions in the society. This is what I am doing." And then they all agreed. So I did what I could. Within 3 months, I made new rules. I started operating. Now, they gave me 5 lakhs, isn't it? Around 1983-84. 2006, I retired. By the time I retired, it was 500 lakhs. 100 times I improved. And of course, when I took over, there were only about 484 people or so members. But slowly, looking at the way I was working, even officers joined the society. And it flourished like that. Then in 2023, after my retirement, director and his officers, they invited me for facilitating me. So that was in September 2023. By then, they made 20 crores. You see? And they were all wonderstruck how it is being made. I made it so foolproof that nobody can eat 1 paisa in that. Eh? And nobody can complain also because I made a passbook. That passbook, everybody, every month he knows what he is holding to his credit, what he owes to society, on what account, how much, and all that, the interest, everything. I made a pakka passbook just like, in fact, the bank passbook only ins and outs are shown, but here I had shown in sufficient detail. Anyway, we will not go into those details. So I made this. Even today, it is going good in 23 September. Now already we have 2.5 years we have crossed. I don't know what is the position, but it can only increase. It cannot decrease. So what I'm saying is, but it is all simply based on simple interest and compound interest. Anyway, now I will tell you how I made. I took over, as I told you, when it was 5 lakhs. And then by the time I left the office, it was 500 lakhs. And recently, in September 23, the accumulated amount is 2,000 lakhs or 20 crores. So, simple interest and compound interest are two important concepts taught in my high school, have been found to be very useful in my living, to plan my life, and the finances associated with every expenditure or investment or borrowing of a loan, repayment of principal with interest, etc. As an extension of the simple interest and compound interest concept, the dollar cost averaging is another investment concept which is equivalent to the recurring deposit concept at the post office or the banks. Similar to the RD or the recurring deposit account, SIP, that is systematic investment plan, in Sensex or Nifty index funds, fetches about 14 to 15% interest on a compound interest basis. This I already told you. So, what is the concept of simple interest? It is not that you all don't know, but there may be some people who don't know. For them, for their benefit, I am explaining from layman's point of view. Multiply the product by the time or term of the loan. For example, assume the principal P is $1 lakh. The interest rate R is 11%, and the time T is 2 years. The simple interest I formula is I is equal to PRT. With simple interest, you pay a fixed amount of interest on the money you borrow and the principal does not increase. Ideally, you want to pay simple interest when you borrow. Next is the compound interest. Compound interest, on the other hand, is an entirely different animal. Albert Einstein called compound interest the most powerful force in the universe. With compound interest, interest is added or compounded to the principal at predetermined intervals. Essentially, you are paying interest on the interest, so the debt racks up quickly. Multiply the principal, which is the amount borrowed, by the interest rate. Multiply the product by the time or term of the loan. For example, assume the principal is $1 lakh, the interest rate is 11%, and the term is 2 years. The simple interest formula is I is equal to PRC. I already told you. So here, $1 lakh into 0.11 is equal to $11,000. So term is 2 years. So 11,000 into 2, that is $22,000 is the interest. But now you consider the compound interest. It is calculated using the following formula. A is equal to P into 1 plus R by N to the power NT, where A is total amount accumulated, P is principal, R is annual interest rate, N is the number of times the interest is compounded in a year, T is the term in years. How to calculate simple interest and compound interest? I am explaining now. Compound interest using the formula A is equal to P into, that is bracket 1 plus R by N, bracket close, to the power NT. Assume the amount borrowed is 10,000, P is $10,000. The amount, the annual interest rate R is 0.05 or 5%. And the number of times interest is compounded in a year, N, is 4, that is quarterly compounded. The term in years is T is 5 years. A is the total amount accumulated, including interest after T years. Divide the interest rate R by the number of compounding periods, N per year. That is 0.05 by 4, that is equal to 0.0125. Since R is 5% and N is 4. Add 1 to the total, that is 1 plus 0.0125. Raise 1.0125 to the power 4 into 5 to yield 1.28. That is, N is the number of periods it is compounded and R is interest rate. So multiply 10,000, that is P, by 1.28 to yield $12,800. Now see the difference. The total interest earned is approximately 2,800. That is 12,800 minus 10,000, original principal. The approximation is due to rounding off. So 12,800 minus 10,000 is equal to 2,800. Here is the full equation is A is equal to P bracket 1 plus R by N bracket close to the power of NT. A is equal to 10,000 into 1 plus 0.5 by 4 raised to the power 4 into 5, that is equal to 10,000 into 1.0125 raised to the power of 20, that is equal to 10,000 into 1.28, that is 12,800. So this is compound interest. Let's see how it is multiplying. Now we'll discuss about systematic investment plan. Systematic investment plans have the potential to create big wealth over time. There are 3 basic principles that work in favor of a SIP, SIP, systematic investment plan. The earlier you start investing money, the more you earn interest, and therefore the more your returns will earn returns. In financial parlance, this is called the power of compounding. Time plays a bigger role in a SIP than the timing. That is why early contributions are more valuable in a SIP. That also explains why a regular SIP has a better wealth ratio than a step-up SIP. To get the benefit of power of compounding, the investor needs to remember 2 things. Firstly, they need to leverage the power of equities through diversified equity funds. Secondly, they need to ensure reinvestment of returns via growth plans. Can a small sip of rupees 10,000 make a big difference? That is the question. That could be your most standard refrain. How much difference can a sip of 10,000 rupees per month make to your wealth? The answer is that it can make a big difference if the investment is continued for a long time with the discipline and in growth assets like equities. The question is how much? Consider the example below I am giving. I have taken an example from IIFL. I have no connection with IIFL, or it is not a recommendation for investment in IIFL. This is purely for understanding of the concept of IIFL example is taken. Now, somebody is asking the question, I save INR 20K every month. What are the best investment options to get good returns? My answer is, let us think that you can invest rupees 20,000 per month. Let us split this into two parts, 10,000 per month each. Before taking a decision, let us examine what happened in the last 40 years in India as a benchmark reference for us. Two prominent Indian market indices are Sensex and Nifty. Sensex is the oldest market index for equities. It includes shares of 30 firms listed on the BS, that is Bombay Stock Exchange, which represent about 45% of the index free float market capitalization. It was created in 1986 and provides time series data from April 1979 onward, that is May 17, 2019. That is the date on which I calculated. So the BSE and NSE, most of the trading in the Indian stock market takes place on its two stock exchanges, the Bombay Stock Exchange BSE and the National Stock Exchange NSE. The BSE has been in existence since 1875. The NSE, on the other hand, was founded in 1992 and started trading in 1994. However, both exchanges follow the same trading mechanism, trading hours, settlement process, etc. At the last count, the BSE had more than 5,000 listed firms, whereas the rival NSE had about 1,600. Out of all the listed firms on the BSE, only about 500 firms constitute more than 90% of its market capitalization. The rest of the crowd consists of highly illiquid shares. However, Sensex consists of a basket of 30 select shares of reputed companies whose aggregate appreciation and depreciation is measured on a daily basis and indicated as Sensex index. Similarly, Nifty consists of a basket of 50 shares and its daily movement is measured as Nifty index. So let us see 40 years of Sensex and about its journey. The Sensex is a free-floating index representing 30 most liquid and active stocks that reflects the undertone of the market and the Indian economy. On April 1, 2019, the Sensex BSE Sensitive Index completed 40 years of existence. In a way, the Sensex is not only representative of the bullishness or bearishness in the market, but also a barometer for the Indian economy. The Sensex is a free-floating index representing 30 most liquid and active stocks that reflects the undertone of the market and the Indian economy. But have you ever imagined what has changed in the India since the Sensex was launched? Back in 1979, India had not heard of mobile phones or the internet, two things without which trading in the market is hard to imagine today. In 1979, the Cold War was still on between the US and the USSR. That is what Russia and adjoining nations were called then. and India was closely allied to the USSR. When the census was launched in 1979, India was under the first non-Congress government led by the Janata Party. Sensex rallied in the last few weeks after the prospects of the BJP improved. But when the Sensex was constituted in 1979, the BJP did not exist. Bharatiya Janata Party was formed only in 1980. Key milestones for the Sensex. While the Sensex was constituted with a notional value of 100 in April 1979, the lowest point recorded was 113.28 in December 1979. It took the Sensex nearly 11 years to touch the 40,000 mark in 1990. From that point, it took the Sensex 16 years to reach the 10,000 mark, but a little over a year to touch 20,000 mark by late 2007. Interestingly, in the last 12 years, I am talking about 2019 when I made these observations. Interestingly, in the last 12 years, since the end of the bull rally in January 2008, the Sensex has not even doubled, an annualized return of less than 6% over the last 12 years. During the last 40 years of its existence, the Sensex has seen three massive bull market rallies led by specific sectors. The 1992 rally was led by cement, the 1999 rally by technology stocks, and the 2007 rally was led by infrastructure and realty stocks. How the constituents of the Sensex have changed over the years, that I am going to give you now. When it comes to the constituents of the Sensex, a few things stand out about the shift. Just about 10 stocks that were part of the original Sensex of 1979 continue to remain in the Sensex today. When the Sensex was constituted in 1979, the Tatas and Birlas accounted for 9 out of the 30 companies. Back in 1979, there was not a single financial company or IT company in the Sensex. Today, financials and IT account for close to 50% of the Sensex in terms of weightage in the Sensex. Tata Motors is the only stock that had its main stock and its DVR listed as separate components of the Sensex for a brief period. Currently, only the Tata Motors stock is part of the Sensex, not the DVR. Sensex is all about passive wealth creation. Sensex represent approximately 40% of the overall market cap of Indian stock markets, which is what makes it a good barometer of the overall market. But the real takeaway from the Sensex is its passive wealth creation potential. For example, if you had invested rupees 1 lakh in a Sensex fund in 1979, you would be sitting on a cool 3.9 crores in 2019. That is an approximate 390 bagger for the Sensex over 40 years. In annualized CAGR returns, it translates into 17% compounded returns over 40 years. Of course, if we add the dividend yield, it could be closer to 18.5%. Therein probably lives the story of wealth creation by the Sensex. So, that is the type of return you get in stock markets. For a period of 40 years, you got about 18%. Now somebody is raising a question. I am 24 years old, earning 80,000 per month after taxes. My monthly needs can be fulfilled under 16 to 18,000. What is the best way to invest? Somebody has asked. My answer is, it is good that you are thinking of investing your money at a very young age. I congratulate you on that decision. Let me first tell you what you should do and what you should not do as far as investments are concerned. This is applicable for anybody. I just gave an example because somebody has asked me this question. I answered him. Now I am telling you all this answer applies to everybody in future. First of all, there are don'ts. I am listing out the don'ts. Many people will come or approach you or contact you giving all types of suggestions to invest. Don't take any of those advices. They advise you for their fee, not for guaranteed growth of your investment. So first learn how to ignore them. This is my first advice. Next, insurance people will tell so many things till you take policies and pay your premium. This is because they get their commission for your lifetime. As long as you keep paying your quarterly, half-yearly, annual premium, they keep getting their commission. So don't fall prey for insurance agents. Third point, remember that ants will come where honey is there. That is a natural phenomenon. But you have to safeguard your honey for your and your own family's enjoyment and not for ants. Next point, don't put all eggs in the same basket. That is, don't invest all your investable funds in a single place. This is very dangerous. In case of any calamity, you should not be deprived of all your invested money, reducing you to become a pauper. So don't go into water when you don't know swimming. Don't dare to enter into water based on the average depth of water being 5 feet and you are a 6-footer. If depth is at a single point is 7 to 8 feet, you will be drowned and the story ends. Remember that stock market is a place where even angels fear to trade. I repeat, stock market is a place where even angels fear to trade. Okay? Now, I will tell you what are the things you must do. So far I have discussed don'ts, but now I am telling do's. First point, keep 6 months of your funds required for your sustenance as a contingency fund to take care of any unforeseen eventuality of your earning ability. In case you become sick or you're not getting salary and things like that. So keep 6 months of your funds required for your sustenance. Next point, take a term policy of insurance immediately on your name for at least 12 to 15 times your annual income. That is 80,000 because he told his monthly income is 80,000, no? So I am calculating based on that. 80,000 into 12 into 15 for 15 years, it comes to 1.44 crores. So I am recommending him to take a term policy for 1.44 crores. The premium for a term policy is much less compared to other insurance policies. However, remember that if everything goes well and nothing happens to you, you will not get anything from insurance. Nevertheless, if anything untoward happens, your dependents will get 1.44 crores as compensation from insurance. That is why a term insurance is being recommended by me. Next point, next you should plan for your house. But remember that if you buy a ready-built house or flat, it will reduce your mobility in life and it will hang around your neck more as a liability than as an asset. So instead, buy a plot, not with an intention to build a house on that, but as an investment. Here again, don't buy it on outright purchase basis, but on easily affordable monthly installments stretched over a period of 50 to 60 months. You don't have to oversee its security for these 50 to 60 months of scheme duration. Even then, buy the plot in a gated community so that even after 50 to 60 months, you don't need to oversee its safety and security. If you don't do this, somebody will occupy your plot and usurp it as you are not able to keep constant vigil on the plot. Here again, buy in a tier 2 city like Visakhapatnam, where the growth is in the next 10 years will be exponential. Next point, next you plan for your retirement fund by joining NPS, that is National Pension System. I already explained to you the National Pension System. By paying 10% of your basic per month or a minimum of 50,000 per annum as self-subscription, if your employer contributes another 10%, it is okay, or otherwise You join the scheme alone by self-contribution and opt for default option given by PFRDA, that is Pension Fund Regulating Development Authority. It is a professional body entrusted by government with the objective of efficient running of NPS. So you don't have to break your head. Next point, by the time you retire, a good amount of corpus, that is 1 crore 95 lakhs 22,570 is built from self-contribution of at the rate of 4,167 per month, becoming 18 lakhs 144 plus employer's contribution of 4,167 per month, becoming another 18 lakhs 144 plus compound interest 8% earned on monthly contribution over a period of 36 years. That means 1 crore 59 lakhs 22,282. Yes, you will be retiring in the year April 2053 to take care of your sunset years in old age to give you a monthly pension. If your monthly contributions are higher, your interest earned on NPS will be higher. You will get proportionately higher corpus at the time of retirement. However, the corpus of 1 crore 95 lakhs 22,570 is the minimum obtainable by contributing rupees 50,000 each annually for 36 years at minimum interest rate of 8%. As I already told you, even the PFRDA people, they have generated more interest. That I am going to tell now. However, it may not be out of context if I mention that PFRDA generated the following minimum interest on NPS in the preceding years as follows. 2008, 2009, 12.02%. 2009, 2010, 12.06%. 2010 to 2011, 10.72%. 2011 to 2012, 9.41%. 2012 to 13, 9.95%. 2013 to 2014, 9.1%. 2014 to 2015, 9.11%. But I am told overall they have been able to generate around 14% per annum in equities. So, incidentally, your contribution to NPS up to 50,000 per annum is exempted from income tax under Section 80 CCD2 of Income Tax Act. Over and above 1,50,000 per annum exempted under Section 80 CCD1 of the Income Tax Act. So, for 10% IT slab, you save about 5,000 per annum extra through NPS. For 20% slab, you save up to 10,000 per annum extra. And for 30% slab, you save up to 15,000 per annum extra. Now, next is investment for wealth building. Now, let us concentrate on where you should invest your surplus savings remaining. Point number 1, make a monthly systematic investment plan of rupees 5,000 per month in at least 3 ELSS, equity linked savings schemes, which give you 100% tax exemption under Section 80 CCD up to a limit of 1,50,000 per annum. You can consider ELSS schemes like RG ELSS, DSP, BlackRock ELSS, HDFC ELSS, and Reliance ELSS, etc. as good ones among many other ELSS schemes. These schemes are of 3 years minimum duration for tax exemption purposes, and so you cannot withdraw them up to the end of 3rd year, 3 years lock-in of each monthly subscription. Next point, make another SIP of 10,000 per month for 5 to 7 years in Sensex or Nifty Index mutual funds. As the Sensex and Nifty keep fluctuating during the 5 to 7 years of SIP duration, you get the benefit of dollar cost averaging. That is, as you are buying every month, and Sensex Nifty indices are low, you get more units for same amount of investment and sometimes less units when indices are high. On the whole, you get them at an average price, and this benefits you in the long duration of over 5 to 7 years. This is called dollar cost averaging. So next point, next you invest rupees 10,000 per month in another SIP like Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC Bank, Motherson Sumi, ITC, India Bull Housing Finance, LIC Housing Finance, HCL Technologies, etc. If you have more investable funds, you can do shipping in more than 2 or 3 of the companies suggested above. However, don't panic under any circumstances. As you have taken all contingencies into consideration before investing, you will only receive a bonanza after 5 to 7 years of investment under schemes suggested under wealth building. Remember that appreciation in Sensex during 1979-80 to 2017, that is 36 years, which speaks of the potential possibility of appreciation in investment in the share markets as follows. In 1979-80, the Sensex was 100. In 2017, the Sensex touched 29,950. That is an appreciation of 29,950 minus 100 by 100. That is 29,850 by 100 in 36 years. That is equal to 298.5 by 36. That is 8.29 times per annum. Every year it is increasing at the rate of 8.29 times. That is rupees 100 invested in Sensex fund in 1979-80 has grown to 29,950 in 2017 or at the rate of 8.29 times per annum or at 829% per annum. So this is the type of return you get in share market over a long period of time. However, don't forget the following. Do's and don'ts told in the beginning. Please note that all your investments have to be shown in your income tax returns every year as you are eligible for full tax exemption under long-term capital gains tax, LTCG tax. So, whatever my suggestion I gave, I have revised a number of times what happened in the market. So, I am giving my edit, first edit on 6/11/2017. I think I wrote the original reply to this question around 4th April 2007, which was roughly 7 months back. The Sensex closed today at 33,731. The Sensex index, when I wrote the initial reply, was 29,950. That means the index rose by 33,731 minus 29,950. That is equal to 3,781 points in about 7 months' time, as on 6th November 2007. Or in other words, the rise is about 3781 divided by 29,950. That is equal to 0.12624374, or it is equivalent to 12.62% in 7 months. If you convert that into annual yield, it works out to 0.12624374 into 12 divided by 7. That is 0.21641784. This is roughly equal to 21.6% per annum. It is worthwhile comparing this annual yield to the present bank interest rate, which is not more than 6.5% per annum. Or in other words, investing in a Sensex fund would have fetched you 3 times the bank interest. So it is always better to invest your surplus funds in Sensex or Nifty fund to get better yield. A monthly SIP in the Sensex or Nifty fund would give you even better yield. However, it is always worthwhile to remember that freshers or beginners without much knowledge about stock market should not invest in individual stocks for short time. Always invest in SIP, systematic investment plan, over a 5 to 7 years period, either in Sensex or Nifty funds or good growth shares suggested in my original reply as above. You are bound to reap a good bonanza. Good luck for all the investors in stock market. Now, again, I edited my reply on 30th December 2017. It is better to review how the share market have behaved over a period of 1 year that has gone by. The first day of the share markets in 2017 started on 2nd January 2017, and the last day of the share market ended on 29th December 2017. Sensex was 26,711 on 2/1/2007, and it was 34,057 on 29 December 2007, an increase of 34,057 minus 26,711, that is equal to 7,346 points. That is an increase of 7,346 divided by 26,711, that is equal to 27% in a year. Nifty was 8210 on 2/1/2007, and it was 10,531 on 29 December 2007, an increase of 2,321 points. That works out to an increase of 2,321 divided by 8,210, that is equal to 28% in a year. The best performed share was India Bulls Ventures. It was rupees 20 on 2/1/2007, and it rose to 265 on 29/12/2017. Profit of rupees 245, or in percentage, it is 1,227%. The following shares have given good returns in 2017 during the same period. Rain Industries gave 572%. Adani Transmission gave you 292%. India Bulls Real Estate gave you 205%. Note, these are the types of returns one can make if one is lucky. But past performance is no guarantee for the future. You're investing in the future of the company, but not its past. So be careful in investing directly in shares. Instead, invest into SIPs of selected shares or into Sensex or Nifty funds. I repeat, only people with good experience should dare to invest directly in shares. Otherwise, simplest thing is simply buy Nifty Bs. You see, you can close your eyes. You will get minimum 14 to 15% compound interest per annum. Please remember that. So, I repeat, my warning, share market is a place where even angels fear to trade. However, if you are intelligent and do the required spade work and hard work in understanding of the share market like Warren Buffett and Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, you can mint money in the share market. So happy investing and good luck in 2018. That was my wish at that time. Now, I edited again on 26th January 2018. In the new year 2018, the Sensex crossed already 36,000, and it is now around 36,050, while Nifty has already crossed 11,000, and it is now around 11,070 as on 25th January 2018. The markets have run very fast in the last 3 years, 9 months. At the present time, the markets appear quite stretched. So all the investors who have made reasonable profit in the last 3.75 years are advised to book profits either fully or partially and sit on sidelines. Those of the investors who are investing in SIPs could continue with their SIPs. When the markets correct reasonably below 36,000, the fresh investors as well as those who have booked profit can again enter the market. All the best for successful investment. Now again I reviewed this around 13th May 2018. Browse through the following link also so that you are benefited in SIP of a good companies over a long period of 15 to 20 years. I compiled the calculated values of SIP amounts in selected companies. You verify this by your own personal calculation and subscribe only if you are convinced. So, The link is given as under. Woodday Shivakesham's answer to I recently published an Android app and it is generating me an income of approximately $4,500 to $5,000 per month. How do I invest this money? My answer to that is many people give many suggestions, but it is your own money. If you lose, it is you who are losing. So, but not the financial or portfolio advisor. So don't take any abrupt decision. There are few blue chip companies whose performance has been consistently consistent and on the upward track over a span of years. Their managements of such reputed companies are also generally proactive to keep their companies always in the forefront in the future and in the years to come. If you invest in such blue chip companies, you stand to gain in the long run, and you are also not required to pay any long-term capital gain, as your profit gains in the long-term capital gain under Section 10-38 are fully exempt from income tax, or in other words, you will not also be required to pay any income tax on such huge profits earned. Further, as you will be investing in reputed companies, you don't have to monitor on their share price movements on a day-to-day or month-to-month or year-to-year basis. Invest in a monthly systematic investment plan that is over a span of 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, or even 25 years, with instructions to your shipping agent to reinvest the dividend amounts or any other special payout as well into your ships. If you do it this way, you will have a sizable amount of corpus fund built for you and your family by the time you become 50 years. The maturing ships of 10 and 15 years duration could be used for your personal and family needs, like children's higher education, purchase of residential house, or marriage of your daughter, etc. While 20 to 25 years ship amounts could be kept in FDs at the time to give you and your family a monthly pension after you become 50 years. Whether there is any substance in my suggestion can be personally checked by you by taking as an example of erstwhile Kotak Bank, now Kotak Mahindra Bank, for a span of 20 to 25 years. Assuming a monthly SIP amount of 10,000 per month in Kotak Bank, you can calculate physically and see for yourself how it got multiplied over a span of 20 to 25 years. I am giving below a few examples of some companies whose SIP amounts at the rate of 10,000 per month have got magnified over a span of 15, 20, and 20 years. Now I'm discussing the 15-year span. Arts and Agro Product Limited, BSC code 531531, usage from 1st January 2000 to October 2015. An investment of rupees 23.7 lakhs had grown to 8 crores 22 lakhs 54,291 in a span of 15 years, giving rise to a profit of 7 crores 97 lakhs 84,291. That is 7 crores 97 lakhs 84,291 divided by 2 crores 37 lakhs. Yeah, that gives you a yield of 224.42 or at the rate of 224.42% per annum. Now, next example I have given is a 20-year span of SIP. Suven Life Sciences Limited, BSC code 530239, usage from 1st January 1995 to August 2015. An investment of rupees 24.4 lakhs had grown to 15 crores 5 lakhs 98,423.4 in a span of 20 years, giving rise to a profit of 14 crores 81 lakhs 58,423.40. That is a yield of 303.6% per annum. Now, a 21-year span SIP, Motherson Sumi Systems Limited, BSC code 517334, usage from 1/1/1994 to March 2015, an investment of rupees 24.3 lakhs had grown to 69 crores, 64 lakhs, 69,107.10 in a span of 20 years, giving rise to a profit of at the rate of 1360% per annum. So these are the three cases. Just example to illustrate my above point. However, I now advise you to invest in SIPs of at the rate of 10,000 per annum in the following blue chip companies after you calculate and satisfy yourself. The scripts being recommended for monthly SIPs are as follows: Kotak Mahindra Bank, HDFC Bank, ITC, Wipro, and L&T. Now, I have edited again on 30th March 2019. Let us review the performance of the stock market in the last 1 year. That is, with effect from 28th March 2018 to 29th March 2019, over a span of 12 months. Sensex on 28th March 2018 was 32,968.68. Sensex on 29th March 2019 was 38,672.91. Profit is 5,704.23 or 17.3% per annum. Nifty on 28th March 2018 was 10,113.70. Nifty on 29th March 2019 is 11,623.90. Profit is 1510.20, that is 14.93% per annum. No bank could have given you this much return, but government employees who would have invested in the NPS scheme would have been benefited if they had chosen the share market's investments option of Sensex or Nifty index fund. My advice is the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is likely to return to power, and the stock markets are likely to be bullish in the future also. This recommendation I am talking about 2019. So those of you who have not yet joined in the NPS scheme should immediately join for better returns of your investment and savings. Those of you who have surplus funds for investment can invest in Sensex or Nifty index funds through monthly SIPs. Note, this is not a recommendation for investment in shares of share market. It is only a recommendation for the investment in SIPs of Sensex or Nifty index funds. All the best for building your own wealth. Now, I have again reviewed this on 21st May 2019 when I wrote the above reply. On 4th April 2017, the Sensex index of the stock market was 29,950, and yesterday it was 39,953. So that is, there is an increase of 9,403 points in the Sensex over a span of 2 years and 1.5 months. That works out to an increase of 14.77% per annum. So the bank interest during this period was 6.5% per annum, or in other words, if you had invested your surplus savings in SIP of Sensex or Nifty index fund, you would have easily fetched the above calculated 14.77% per annum. So my advice is, you are not gambling with your money. SIPs in Sensex or Nifty index fund, it is just like your bank or post office RD account, wherein you pay to your shipping agent and you will be getting an interest of 14.77%, as in the above example, in your SIP investment instead of the usual bank interest rate of 6.5%. However, if you are intelligent or smart, you can make more than 500% interest in the last 5 years of Modi's regime, as shown in the link below. Now it is very certain that Mr. Modi will be the PM for next 5 years, and stock markets would still be buoyant. So invest in SIPs of Sensex or Nifty index funds immediately to build your wealth. All the best. Now again I reviewed this around 17th July 2019, and then I gave my advice how to join NPS. I think that I have already explained to you how to join. Now, I will give you a small advice and then close for today. National pension system, that is rupees 50 lakh retirement corpus with just 2,000 per month for central government employees. National pension system for central government employees. All employees joining services of central government, including central autonomous bodies except armed forces, on or after 2004, are covered by NPS for their pension needs. Some state governments have also adopted the NPS architecture and implemented it for their employees, joining from specified dates mentioned in their respective Gazette notification. So, this is what is possible by investing in your NPS or SIPs. I am not joking. These are all calculated. You can verify. I have given you, including the share BSC number also, and the period also. You calculate yourself. See, many people don't know because, see, in India, at least 40% are literally illiterate. So they don't know. And even among the educated people, they only look after. Everybody wants to become engineer. Everybody wants to become a doctor. Everybody wants to become a lawyer. Everybody want to become chartered accountant, like that. These are not the only four professions that earn you livelihood. There are many. But of all the things I am telling you, your money is made in stock market. Please remember that. And you don't have to do anything. Simply go to a shipping agent. Every month you have a tie-up with your bank. Remit, whatever, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, whatever you can afford. Ship it. And when the Sensex is going down, you will get more units. When the Sensex is up, you will get less units. But you get dollar cost average. But on an annual basis, for the last 40 years, I have shown you, it is nothing less than, there are days, 18%. If you take the dividend also, 18.5% they have given. But you will not get less than 14% compound, annual compounded growth. It is a big amount, my dear. 14% is not a small amount. Your banks are giving only 6%, 7%. I am a senior citizen, they are giving me only 6.5%, 7%. You see, in spite of my senior citizenship, they don't give me more than that. But if I can do this, I will get. You may ask me, sir, you are giving advice, free advice. Have you done? Yes. What all I have earned in life, I have earned only in share market. And for your kind information, year before last year, I paid 21 lakhs as my income tax. And last year, I think if I remember correctly, I paid around 15 lakhs as my income tax. So I'm not joking. It is real figures. Please take my advice. Make money by sitting simply in your house. Okay? So I will pray God to bless you all and to bless me for my mistakes if I have made any. यदक्षरपदभ्रष्टं मात्रा हीनं चेद्भवेत् तत्सर्वं क्षम्यतां देव परमेश नमोऽस्तु ते हरिः ओम तत्सत्. What, Venkatratnam?
Yeah. Even we also invest a good amount of money in stock markets. We have around 3 crores portfolio. Yeah.
We, we are educated people.
Yes.
Having got education, what are we doing?
Correct.
Huh? See, your profession is something. I am an engineer. I am a material scientist. But apart from material science, material science alone, it gives me only salary,
Yes.
Huh?
Correct.
But what about my other expenses?
Expenses. Correct.
Isn't it?
True,
And
sir. Very true.
instead of simply putting in what do you call bank, you put here.
Yes.
And in fact, you see, because I don't know whether they can do unorganized sector people. Already government is doing Atil Pension Yojana.
Correct. Yes.
For unorganized sector people, they are giving. Now, I don't know. They are investing in Nifty index funds or Sensex. They may be knowing because they have got better advisors than us. So, but I want the government itself should come forward to unorganized people to invest their money without having demat accounts and all that. Just now I gave you, my cooperative credit society, how I improved. Like that, they can do.
Correct.
I mean, then the country will grow. People will get better lives. Anyway, let us see. But as long as Modi is there, he will do a wonderful job, I'm sure. So let us pray God to give him good health.
Definitely. Hari Om.
Hari Om.